Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 20 career mode here for our second season in MotoGP. And this episode we're here for the 6th round of the season at Mugello. So we need to advance to that point. So I think it's only one more week to get there. Yes, it is now. We've actually got 3 on the bounce after that, although I think one of them is a test, isn't it, at Catalonia. So that engine upgrade has finally finished now, and as I've said a couple of times, no more upgrades are going to come now because it's too easy for me to win at this point, so I don't want to go any further. No notifications on the Moto3 junior team, so I'll have a look at the championship standings then, just to recap what happened in the last episode. So in the last episode, of course, we had that weird qualifying glitch, and I've seen in the comments, it's just a glitch that happens every time you get second in qualifying one. You seem to get put in 15th place on the grid for some reason. You don't even get a chance to go through into Q2, so that's pretty odd. I hope Milestone can fix that at some point. I hope that's brought to their attention, because I suppose that's a bug you could miss, but I feel like that would be something you would test. But anyway, it didn't matter. We managed to recover and still win the race. After a little bit of a battle with Marquez, I had to come from behind, catch him up, made a couple of mistakes getting past him, similarly to the last season at Le Mans, really. So Marquez being quite fast at Le Mans. But that second position has boosted him up in the championship now. The third position, only 2 points short of Dovizioso, so he's almost our closest rival because, to be fair, aside from the races where he got crashed off, he's actually come second in every single one. So he's been extremely fast. Valentino Rossi wasn't so quick. He's still top Yamaha in the championship, but he's dropped down to 6th now. But as you can see, they're really close. There's 1 point separating 4th to 6th place. There's only 12 separating 2nd to 6th. Vinales is a few points further back of Valentino. Jack Miller has actually had quite a poor season since Qatar and has dropped down to 8th in the championship now. He's actually being overtaken by all the late starters, really. Mir is coming through the order. Obviously, he had a crash earlier on in the season. Same with Quartararo. So Quartararo seems to be on the pace, so it'll be interesting to see where he qualifies this time at Mugello. In the Teams Championship, Repsol Honda, basically on account of Marquez's good results lately, have now moved back up ahead of the mission winner Ducati. Pol hasn't been doing too bad either. Pol has been beating Miller, and obviously Marquez has been beating Dovizioso, so they've been gaining points steadily, so they're back up to a decent position now. The Monster Energy Yamaha team are ahead of the independent Yamaha team as well again now, because Quartararo and Vinales have started to score some decent points. And in the Constructors' Championship, it's a bit of a similar story, really. Marquez, obviously, you only take the top scorer of every manufacturer, so Marquez getting second places 3 times in a row now has elevated Honda back up into second. Obviously, they've actually had quite a good season, because to be honest, if you look at their results, the only race where they've not had 20 points is Austin. But that's a quick overview of the championship then. Let's head into Mugello, and will we finally have the first dry race of the career mode here at Mugello? Because every single season, Moto3, Moto2 and our first MotoGP season have been in the rain. So will we finally get a dry Mugello race? Let's see. So here we are then in Mugello for qualifying 1. This time I'm going to make sure I top the session instead of getting second, because I don't know if I could recover from 15th here. Probably, because I'm sure this bike is going to work much better than the KTM did. Obviously we had a miserable time here last season, but we've got a massive lead in the championship, so it wouldn't really matter. Quite a surprising qualifying 1 here. So both of the Petronas Yamahas, Valentino Rossi and Franco Morbidelli in this session. Takaki Nakagami in here as well. Bagnaia, Martin, both the Aprilias of Cal Crutchlow and Alessio Spargaro, Danilo Petrucci, Iker Lecuona, Joan Zarco, Tito Rabat and Alex Marquez. So most of the usual suspects, but neither of the KTMs and both of the Petronas Yamahas. So that is quite interesting. Actually might be quite hard to get out of here because, well, Rossi and Morbidelli, they've got some pretty good machinery underneath them. So then we'll head straight out onto the track. I don't know if a soft tyre would actually be a very good idea to use here. It should be okay for 1 lap. It's not as bad as Catalonia, but it overheats very quickly. So in the race, it's definitely going to be hard tyre all the way, that's for sure. But in qualifying, I think soft will be okay. But if it's not, I'll swap to a medium tyre on the rear. So we go into Buccini then. Oh, the bike not turning in that great there, but I'm just hoping that we do a better qualifying than we did last season, of course, at this circuit. We were absolutely terrible. I don't think we qualified last place, but we were pretty close to it, as far as I remember. And then the race was wet, which we gained a few positions on the first lap, and that was it. We couldn't quite keep up with the other riders, because the AI were actually pretty good in the wet, because it wasn't actually a rainy race, it was a wet track, and the AI are actually quite good in wet track. As we flip the bike over then into Luca, we've gone in a little bit wide, turning the bike, and again, a bit of a wheelie through Poggio Secco, then sliding the rear tyre down the straight towards the left-hander. We're a 10th underneath, nearly 2 through Materassi. We've gone a little bit wide through there, very tight then through Borgo San Lorenzo as a consequence. down towards Casanova and Savelli, braking nice and early for Casanova, hitting that apex on the inside, getting on the power between the two, flicking the bike over from side to side, a little bit wide through Savelli actually, so that definitely will have affected our run, so we'll have to see what our time is in this sector, probably not quite as good. Through Arabiata 1, the rear sliding around from underneath us as we go up through Arabiata 2, yeah, we've lost a bit of time, but we're still under the time for now, 49 thousandths underneath the time, and that rear tyre is actually getting quite hot, so a medium might actually be needed for Q2. When I'm pushing a little bit more and I'm a bit more up to speed, I might be pushing that rear a little bit more. As we go out of Pelagio, then down the straight towards Corantaio. Obviously, it can be quite a tricky corner. Obviously, it's just a long right-hander, really. It just brings you back on yourself, but you can overshoot it. If you overshoot, you can lose a lot of time through there. So out of there, then, towards the Biondetti chicane, you can gain and lose big time through here. We're still 56 thousandths underneath the time. We've gained a bit of time. Buccini now. AI, not too good into Buccini from what I remember. At least they weren't in Moto 3, Moto 2, I don't think. So out of Buccini then, trying to get on the power. The rear actually stayed stable through that corner. The rear sometimes likes to slip when you get on the power through there. But as we come up towards the line then, what's this time going to be? 43, 44, 45, 45.4. So there's still a bit of time on the table, that's for sure. But I hope that's good enough for us to go through regardless. So then it was just enough to go through into the second session. Obviously first position, which is what you need apparently to go through into qualifying 2. Unfortunately in this game there seems to be a bit of a glitch. But 1/100th of a second quicker than Valentino Rossi. So that was the difference between us going through into Q2 and starting in 15th again. Morbidelli third place in the session then. So as I predicted, the two Yamahas were going to be a danger in this one because they are so fast. Danilo Petrucci actually doing pretty well there in 4th position. 5th place for Bagnaia, 6th for Nakagami, 7th for Cal Crutchlow, 8th for Iker Lecuona, 9th for Aleix Espargaro, 10th for Jorge Martin, 11th for Jean Zarco, and 12th for Alex Marquez, and 13th for Tito Rabat. I always think it ends at P12, but obviously I always forget that I'm playing as my custom rider, so that'll be why. But yeah, those two quite a bit off. Same with Zarco. The others were all actually quite close, only 6/10. Well, actually, if you get rid of Martin as well, only 4/10, not even half a second separating the top 10 this session. Another couple of tenths back is Martin, and then about 3/10 further back off that is Zarco. So these three at the back, the Avintias and Alex Marquez, really struggling then it seems. So head into qualifying 2 now. I think the medium tyre might be the way to go in this qualifying session. And I need to do a little bit of a better lap because we only just outdid Valentino and I don't think he will be going for pole. So if we want another pole position, we're going to have to up our pace slightly. So here we are then in qualifying 2. Not started 15th this time. See a little bit of a weird glitch back in Le Mans. So we'll head out onto the track then straight away. And we do need to do some seriously quick lap times. Obviously Mugello, not a particularly strong track of mine, but a 45... we can go quicker than that, although you got to remember this bike isn't upgraded fully, so it's not as good as the Grand Prix bikes, which I find is a bit of a weird mechanic in this game. You'd expect if you had R&D, it would make the bikes better, not start them off worse and bring them up to the level of the Grand Prix versions, but yeah, a little bit weird that one. So we're 10th underneath Rossi's time in this first sector, 89 thousandths underneath in the second, so pretty similar to our qualifying 1 lap so far. We're actually a 10th away through the Biondetti chicane then, so a bit of time needed to be found on this lap. But obviously, like I say, I'm not that great at Mugello, so maybe a win is not on the cards this weekend. Out of Buccini then up towards the line. Got just over a lap of fuel left, so this is going to be very close if we want to do a second lap. What's it going to be? We just go top of the session, 45.3, 81 thousandths of a second. So up towards the line then at the end of this lap. I don't think it's going to be any faster. No, it's not. It's actually 3/10 slower. So we'll head back to the pits then. And we'll probably have to come out for another run to try and do a better lap. So we're out then for a second run. We've only got to find a little bit of time. Dovizioso currently top of the session with a 45.2. And we did a 45.3. So we only need to find a 10th of a second to actually go back to the top. And that's the difference between us being in 5th place and in 1st place. So a very close field here at Mugello so far. So as we come towards the line at the end of this lap, we were so far off the pace. You can see a half a second away from Dovi's time, so I really need to do something special on this lap. So once again, the lap's just not good enough as we come up towards the line. 45.8, so that's going to be it. That's going to be the time we've done, is to 45.3. I don't know why I can't get anywhere near it, so that must have been actually a really good lap. I've tried so hard to beat it, but I just can't. So then, at the end of the session, it was extremely close, but Andrea Dovizioso takes pole position ahead of Marc Marquez in second, Pol Espargaro in third, so the two Hondas going pretty well here. 4th place then for Joan Mir, 5th for myself, 6th for Rins. So obviously we pretty much all got the sweet spot out the Suzuki, all almost doing identical times there, just 1/10 away from Dovizioso's time. Jack Miller then ends up in 7th, so obviously the Ducati's doing a little bit better here with all those straights, so Miller actually doing slightly better than he has been doing, although not much. Maverick Vinales ends up 8th then, Rossi in 9th, 10th for Oliveira, 11th for Quartararo, but he's only 3/10 off pole. He's 3/10 off pole, and that's 11th place on the grid, and then 12th for Brad Binder, 4/10 off pole. So Quartararo has got some serious work to do, but so have all the Yamaha boys really. Maverick Vinales, Valentino Rossi, they were about 2/10 off. I mean, pretty much. There was about 100th between the two of them. And then Quartararo was about another 10th behind. So Quartararo's going to have to step his game up a little bit here in the race. But next thing to do is head into our Moto3 race and let's see how our riders get on. So then here we are on the grid of our Moto3 race. Daisy Jackson in 20th and Manuel Hernandez 12th on the grid. Fair play to Manuel Hernandez. So hopefully he could try and get in the lead group, because obviously it is Mugello, so you would expect it to group up, but it is a milestone game, so Moto3 is never like Moto3 in real life in these games, unfortunately, which is something I am trying to work on for my Project 20 mod, but I'll have to balance it a little bit more yet. But let's get this race started, and hopefully our two riders can do well. We've got to keep an eye on both of them, see how they do. So luckily we're already on the right camera, but I want to watch Manuel Hernandez, obviously the lead rider. I want to see what he does. Lights out, away we go. Gabby Rodriguez had a terrible start, and he's already got past Gabby Rodriguez, so he's up to 11th position. Gets some slipstream there. It looks like off the back of Tony Arbolino, a very distant toe, mind you, but it is still a bit of a toe. As they go down towards the first corner, you can see in the background Jackson side by side with Darren Binder. Hernandez is now up into the top 10 as he goes around the outside of John McPhee, and those are the bikes we need to beat, the Petronas Sprinter Racing bikes. Those are the bikes we're battling with in the Constructor Championship. So go on, Manuel. Up the inside of McPhee. Can you do it? Yes, you can. So up into 10th place of McPhee. Back up the inside, though. John McPhee back in front of Manuel Hernandez for now. As you go down the straight, here comes Iagora on the left-hand side. Hernandez is getting swamped all of a sudden, but hopefully he can try and recompose himself. Gabriel Rodrigo almost hitting him up the back, but Jackson's had a great start. Look at Jackson. She's up to 16th position already, obviously being a first-lap demon as always. I actually didn't think she was so far down because she looks a lot closer, but actually, yeah, there's a couple of bikes between Hernandez and herself. Here comes Hernandez. Is he going to get out the inside of Agora into the first Arrabbiata? Not quite. A little bit too far behind. McPhee on the inside. I think Agora's going on the outside of McPhee, or Arbolino is definitely. I think McPhee's trying to pass Arbolino, but he's failed to do that. So McPhee still sat in the position, but here comes Gabby Rodrigo around the outside of Manuel Hernandez. Gabby Rodrigo up into 12th position. He's got the inside as he comes through Pelagio. So unfortunately, Hernandez losing positions hand over fist now. His teammate Jackson only a couple of positions behind him. Obviously, she's in 15th. There's only Albert Arenas between them. And Albert Arenas looks like he's going around the outside of Hernandez. So Hernandez is race pace letting him down compared to his qualifying pace so far. But it is, of course, only the first lap. There is 5 laps of this, but obviously the laps are quite long here in Moto3. But he's actually getting a really good run on Gabby Rodrigo. They come out the Biondetti chicane down towards Buccini. Side by side they go, but Rodrigo's got the inside. You're not going to go around the outside to Buccini. Up the inside goes Jackson behind. Can she get past Albert Arenas? She's on the inside of him. Out of the last corner then. It looks like Hernandez is actually dropping back towards the pair of them. It looks like a 6:58.12 as well by the looks of it further up the grid. So Hernandez is 13th. Jackson is now up to 14th ahead of Albert Arenas. But here comes Hernandez coming straight back past Rodrigo. And is Jackson going to follow him straight through? I think she is. So Jackson... Oh no, Jackson's still 14. She's going around the outside, but Gabby Rodrigo back on the inside of the pair of them. So good move by Rodrigo, but around the outside goes Jackson. Will Jackson pull this off on the outside? Not quite. Rodrigo still on the inside. Rodrigo's still got the inside on Manuel Hernandez, and he gets back in front. So my rider's riding 13th and 14th at this point in time. But here comes Hernandez again. He's got the better run. He's got back past Rodrigo. Rodrigo's still got the inside though. Rodrigo dives to the inside, keeps the position once again. Obviously riding quite well in his defensive style. Here comes Hernandez again then. Can he get past Gabby Rodrigo on this home straight? Side by side they go. Hernandez back in front of Rodrigo out of Buccini then. And once again, is Jackson going to try and follow him through like on the previous lap when they tried to do it to Rodrigo? This time though, Hernandez has actually got in front of Rodrigo. Around the outside goes Jackson. Will Jackson pull it off as well? No. The outside line very rarely works into... well, through San Donato, unless you're going to get a really good line into Luca. Obviously, you carry enough speed, you can dive up the inside to Luca, but for now then, Jackson still sat in 14th place. 13th is Gabby Rodrigo, and 12th place for Hernandez. So Hernandez seems to have composed himself now because he's closing to the back of Iagora, who's also closing to the back of Tony Arbolino. Will he be able to slipstream past Iagora on this start-finish straight? Hopefully he can. Obviously, the pack is actually still quite close if you have a look. And is Jackson in the background doing the same thing to Rodrigo? Yes, she is. She's pulling alongside Rodrigo. And here comes Hernandez past Agora, so simultaneous overtakes for the two teammates there. Jackson moves ahead of Rodrigo, and Hernandez moves ahead of Agora. Is Agora on the inside though? Agora tries to get on the inside, but Hernandez actually shuts the door. So next up is Tony Arbolino, and then that'll be a top 10 finish for Hernandez. I don't think he's had one yet. Obviously Jackson's had one, but he's not. So can he try and get this top 10 finish? It'll be absolutely fantastic for him. So Hernandez now all over the back of Tony Arbolino as once again they come to Buccini, so nothing really happens throughout the lap. But at the end of the lap he's so fast, he's got to watch out for that tyre though. That tyre's getting pretty worn, but also they are about to start the final lap. Suzuki just fastest up of the race and he's got a massive lead over Dennis Foggia and then Romano Fenati. But here comes Hernandez, side by side with Arbolino. Here he goes, up into 10th position. So Manuel Hernandez up into the top 10 here at Mugello. Daisy Jackson gets past Iagora at the same time as well. So it looks like it could be a 10-12 finish here for our two riders. Unless maybe Arbolino will make a mistake and allow it to be a 10-11. But this is going to be the best result we've had so far, I think, in terms of points. Although I think Jackson might have got 8th once, but then I believe that Hernandez only got about 14th. So I think this might still be more points. So here we go then, through the Biondetti chicane. Hernandez has got a nice healthy gap back to Arbolino. But Arbolino's not too far in front of Jackson, so can Jackson try and out-drag him to the line? That definitely could happen, but I don't think they've been quite getting alongside before that. So out the last corner then comes Hernandez. I think Suzuki's going to take the victory here in Mugello, but it is the battle behind we're going to watch for. Is it Daisy Jackson or is it Arbolino that's going to get it? So we're going to watch Hernandez go over the line. So Hernandez 10th place, and here comes Jackson just 12th place. She just misses out on beating Arbolino. So then Suzuki absolutely dominated that race ahead of Dennis Foggia, and Romano Fenati actually ending up 3rd on the Husqvarna, so fair play to him. But our riders got 10th and 12th position. Daisy Jackson was so close to overtaking Arbolino, but not quite. I think she would have got him by the end of the straight, but she wasn't going to get him before the line, unfortunately. It was extremely close, but just running out of time there. So unfortunately, John McPhee has beaten us, but we've well and truly beaten Powie, so that might get us some more points on him. Well, actually, where is Powie? Okay, Powie's 23rd. Oh, they got the glitch. The glitch is present in this mode as well. I did not know that. So yeah, the glitch is present even in the spectator mode where they finished 2 minutes behind. That's quite interesting. So in the Riders' Championship, then I think Messia actually beat Antonelli again. So the championship lead now only down to 3 points. So it is pretty close between the two of them. John McPhee still in front of Daisy Jackson in 11th. Manuel Hernandez moves ahead of Kaito Toba, Philip Salach and Albert Arenas. Up into 13th place in the championship. He's now tied with Rodrigo. So if he beats Rodrigo in the next race, it'll be 11th, 12th in the championship, which is quite nice to see. In the Constructor Championship, then, I think we have taken a few points out of Petronas Sprinter Racing there, then. We're only 6 points down on them now. Obviously, McPhee again beating both of our riders, but both of our riders beat Powie by quite a margin, so I think we still gained more points, so I feel a little bit sorry for McPhee there. But hopefully at Catalunya we could try and set our sights on both of the Petronas bikes, beat both of them, and move back up into that 6th place in the championship. But without any further ado then, time to head into the MotoGP race, and let's see if we can try and make another victory here at Mugello. I'm not liking my chances, but the field was very, very close, so fingers crossed my race pace is a little bit better. So here we are then on the grid. I've just missed it showing Dovizioso because I took too long to pick my tyres because I was trying to think what tyres to go with. I've decided to go with the soft front. The hard rear was always what I was going to go with, but I wasn't sure whether I was going to go with the soft or medium front. I think the soft front will be okay, but it'll be interesting to see. I need that feeling from the front. Obviously starting in 5th place this time rather than 15th, so it should be a little bit of an easier race. Hopefully we can get away in a little bit of a pack and it's an interesting fight. I hope I don't just go past them like they're standing still like I did at Le Mans. But Marquez right in the front. Dovizioso are actually my closest championship rival is on pole positions. That's worth noting that as much as, yeah, it looks like Marquez is going to be the adversary over the entire season because he's the most consistent. Dovizioso is currently still my closest rival and he's starting even further ahead than Marquez, so got to watch out for him. But let's get this race started and hopefully I can try and still get a win. But I'm not sure how possible that's going to be.
Not long to go now until the Italian Grand Prix here in Mugello. One of the most challenging and spectacular tracks in the entire championship.
So then both Repsol Hondas actually on the front row of the grid. But us with Suzuki have actually locked out the second row, which is quite funny to think about. We're waiting for the lights to go here at Mugello. Lights out and away we go. We've not had a bad start actually compared to Jean Mir just in front of us. The AI always seem to get slightly better starts. Paul Espargaro's not on the best stop. We're getting a bit of a toe off of Marquez. Past Mir we go as we go down towards the first corner, hitting the brakes nice and early. Marquez has actually been overtaken around the outside by Paul Espargaro. Here comes Miller up the inside, so Miller's had a good start obviously on that Ducati. Miller's sliding, almost going into the side of us there. But Paul Espargaro's back in front of Marquez. Marquez trying to go around the outside. Vinales has gone in wide. Quartararo just behind him there. So Marquez side by side now with Paul Espargaro. The two Repsol Hondas versus each other. It's the first time in a while that Marquez will have to have fought with a teammate, that's for sure. Well, actually, the last time in this career mode he fought with one, that didn't go very well, did it? They ended up on the floor, the pair of them. But Marquez has dropped behind Paul Espargaro, and here we go, around the outside of him into Casanova. So up into third position now. So Paul Espargaro up next. And then ahead of him is actually Andrea Dovizioso. But here comes Marquez. Marquez is back through on the inside through the Arrabbiata. First Arrabbiata anyway. As we go up towards the second Arrabbiata. I'm still on the inside. I'm back in front now though. I've gone in a little bit wide. Will that allow him to cut back up the inside? No. So we're now in front of Marquez once again. Paul Espargaro the target once again as well. But Dovizioso is going to try and make a breakaway because obviously he needs some decent points. I think he's yet to win a race this season. Oh no, sorry, he won a race in Austin, didn't he? I was thinking that Rins won that, but Rins was second, I was third. It was a Suzuki 2-3 in that race, not 1-3. Here we go through Buccini then, trying to pick up the power. We're close up to the back of Paul Espargaro. Obviously, he is still yet to win a race this season, although actually anyone except me or Dovi are yet to win, so I suppose that could be said about quite a few riders on the grid, a good 20, 21 of them, I think. But we hit the brakes then for the first corner once again. Paul Espargaro is still just ahead of us. But we're in a pretty comfortable position right now. The AI don't seem as fast as they were in qualifying. And to be honest, they were close pace with me. So me being a little bit quicker in the race is definitely going to have a bit of an advantage. We've had a bit of contact there with Paul Espargaro. I kind of went into the back of him. We've left Marquez behind. I'm not sure what's happened to Mark, but he's a second behind us already. Here we go through Borgo San Lorenzo, trying to get the run down towards Casanova side by side. Paul just got out the power then, let me through. There was no contact, not even close to contact, so quite what he was doing there, I'm not too sure. So we're now up into second position. Andrea Dovizioso up next ahead of us. This time no one attacking us back through the Arrabbiatas. Obviously Marquez was very brave to try that around the outside through the Arrabbiatas. Through Biondetti 2 then. Down the straight towards the final turn. Closing right up to the back of Dovizioso. He's gone a little bit wide, but going up the inside, the rear sliding. Obviously with that Ducati, he is going to have the power advantage out of Buccini, but I've actually gotten the power a bit earlier. So side by side we go down towards the line, going towards him a little bit. What's his time going to be then? 46.0, fastest lap of the race to be 46.4. Obviously Dovizioso goes first, but it will update with my time in a minute. Round the outside we go into San Donato. Can we pull it off? Round the outside, we've actually kind of hit the apex, gone in a little bit wide though. Will that allow him on the inside? No, it's not. So we've taken the lead here in Mugello at the start of the third lap. The two factory Yamaha scrapping them in 9th and 10th, so that's disappointing to see for Lynn Jarvis, that's for sure. 45.0 on that lap then, so a bit quicker than we went in qualifying. I've got onto the grass because I was looking at the time. That's a bit scary there, but 1.7 seconds ahead of Dovizioso. But yeah, that's a lesson. You've got to keep your eye on the track. Don't start looking at your lap time to try and figure out how much quicker it was than your time in qualifying, because you'll end up on the grass. 45.4 on that lap. So obviously with the grass excursion and not the best ridden lap, not quite as quick. 44.9 on that lap, so we're lapping even quicker. So as we're about to start the final lap of the race then, pace has dropped off quite a bit, 46.0 on that lap, but we just got to bring it on home now. We've got a massive lead over Dovizioso, 4.8 seconds ahead of him, so absolute domination in this race once again. Rounding the last corner then, out of the last corner, out of Buccini, sliding that rear tyre up towards the line. We've saved the fuel plenty on this last lap, so we're going to be alright. As we come up towards the line, then it's another win in this season, another domination ahead of Dovizioso in second place. Oh dear, it's happened again, hasn't it? Because those guys have completely disappeared as we go down the table. Yes, so Dovizioso, Paul Espargaro, Marc Marquez and Joan Mir have been put 2 minutes behind. Oh, that is a shame. That is actually a shame. I am actually disappointed by that. Because, I mean, some of those guys are my main championship rivals, but there you go then. That's just given us even more of a hand in the title. So I win then ahead of Alex Rins in second position, Valentino Rossi in third, fourth place for Jack Miller, fifth for Fabio Quartararo, sixth for Maverick Vinales, 7th for Franco Morbidelli, 8th then for Alex Marquez, 9th for Joan Mir, Jorge Martin, 10th for Bagnaia, 11th for Oliveira, 12th for Lecuona, 13th for Nakagami, 14th for Zarco, apparently got the fastest lap, so 43.3. Okay, and Danilo Petrucci then gets the last point in 15th. Brad Binder actually doing quite poor there in 16th, 17th for about 18th for Crutchlow, 19th for Espargaro, and obviously Dovizioso, Paul Espargaro, Marquez, and Jean may have been put too far behind. So I'm not sure what the threshold for the time is. I thought it was 3 to 4 seconds, but I was about 5 seconds ahead. But if it's done the glitch where it takes a couple seconds off you, that would put them all in that range. So yeah, I'm not too sure on that. It needs to be fixed. It's quite a bad problem because this is actually going to affect the championship pretty badly. So if we have a look at the championship then, Alex Rins now moves up to second in the championship. 71 points is my championship lead. 71 points. Valentino Rossi moves back up into third place in the championship with 66 points then. Dovizioso ends up 4th place. 5th then for Marc Marquez. Vinales actually starting to get a decent amount of points compared to other people with 56 then. Jack Miller actually moves ahead of Paul Espargaro then into 7th. Quartararo stays where he is, but he's closed up to the other guys. Alex Marquez, Morbidelli moved back ahead of Jean Mir. And then Martin moves ahead of Rabat and Petrucci. That's probably just because he scored points when he shouldn't have done. Yeah, that has actually affected the championship quite a bit. And if we have a look at the Constructors now, or the Teams Championship even, wow, we've got a 100-point lead at a mission winner Ducati have actually moved ahead of Repsol Honda. Obviously, Repsol Honda, both their riders got given the glitch, so it was just Miller flying the flag for the Ducati team. So they've now got 5 points ahead. No one else has swapped around though at all. The Monster Energy Yamaha team's actually closing up to those guys though, so those three are all pretty close. But Repsol Honda have really been messed about there. And now in the Constructors' Championship we have a 53-point lead ahead of Honda in second, 56 points then back to Ducati. Obviously it's not as big of a gap as the other ones because Alex Marquez was still there to pick up points for Honda. Obviously Miller was still there to pick up points for Ducati, and Yamaha, to be fair, actually got benefited by it. The Petronas Yamahas, obviously they got 16 points, so that'll be 16 points on the Yamaha Constructors' Championship then. So then we'll head back into the Career Hub. Now we'll have a look at the results of this weekend. Obviously we're going to gain quite a bit from our Moto3 team because they got a very, very good result. So then this weekend we gained 18,200 reputation points, 13,200 from the race and 5,000 from qualifying, which takes us up to 590,600 reputation points, so almost at 600k. We should get there next time. And on the credits then we get 112,506. Once again, obviously both of our riders getting in the top 15, 10th and 12th positions. Very good race, obviously, so we get 80,000 from them and 31,000 from myself. And that takes us up to 1,739,861 credits. So then this time we gain 269 team prestige. We get 105 from Jackson, obviously getting that 12th place. 125 from Hernandez for getting the 10th place. But actually he bet the qualifying goal as well, which gave us another 39, so that's even better. And then we gain 300 research data. So then no notifications for me. So any notifications on here? There is. On the team planning. So as a technical director applying, so a new one applying again. So a bit better on the frame, a bit worse on the electronics. I don't know what the garage thing actually is. And a lot worse on the engine, which really, Moto3, I need a good engine person. So actually, I don't know why I'm hanging on to any of these, really. I'm going to refuse all of these people. There we go, that's that sorted out. So we've actually got a couple of things we can do. So team development, the finances has now finished again with the observers, so we don't have to pay the riders quite as much money. So this section is all about the finance, really. So obviously these two here, these two trees, they're all about just getting credits. This one is about reliability as well here. This tree down here, the PR sort of stuff, that is for prestige. This one here is for prestige as well, isn't it? So this is all about gaining prestige, so we can do that. I have to pick whichever one takes the shortest amount of time. So this is purchase of a motorhome. So this actually brings reliability. To be honest, they've not been crashing or anything, so I'm not going to really bother about improving that. They'll probably crash in the next episode now I've said that, but whatever. For now, I think team prestige should be the utmost priority out of this section anyway, because we can upgrade something else in this section. So we spent 175,000 credits. It'll take 7 weeks for us to get that plus 3% on the team prestige. And on the bike development then, we can actually upgrade the frame. 1% performance during the races on this, so we'll put that then. We'll upgrade the bike a little bit more, give them something a bit better to work with. So that'll take 6 weeks. It's going to be a while before we can do anything again, I think, because we've got to get the research data as well. We've got like nothing again now. But I think that's where I'll bring this episode to a close then. So I hope you did enjoy that one. I know the races weren't the best actually. Mugello didn't seem to really bring the close racing, so the Moto3 was a bit unrealistic because they weren't all in one massive train like they usually are at Mugello. and the only overtakes really were just on the straight, so out of Buccini onto the front straight. That's where they were getting all the passes done. I suppose it's kind of hard to pass anywhere else, so that's where all the action was happening, so that's why I just get cut into Buccini every lap. And then in our race, I was so much faster in the race and qualifying. I think it was the hard tyre. I think I should have qualified on the hard tyre, but there you go. It made it a little bit more interesting. I had to pass some people, otherwise I would have just cleared off from the front like in Jerez. But yeah, I've not really got anything else to add. It's a bit annoying though that this glitch keeps happening where people get put further down, because we've now got... The championship is ruined now. I mean, it was already messy anyway, but that was just messy from weird things happening, so crashes, etc. That's not a glitch, that's just happened as part of the racing, but I've been given like an extra 20 points championship lead, like out of nowhere. Like on Dovizioso, I've just been given an extra free 20 points on him, and Marquez have gained like an extra like 15 or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, and you know, same with the Spagro, we gained a load of points on him that we shouldn't have done. Obviously, we would have gained 9, we would have gained like 5 points on Dovizioso, we would have got 9 on Polo Spagro, for example, but now we get 25 instead, so it's a bit annoying that that does happen. Hopefully it will get fixed, but that's all I've really got to say. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that video. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.